Okay, we are back again. So this time we're doing Mercadian Masques. So a little bit maybe a different type of, I don't even know much about this set. So, kind of interesting. Anyway, just looking through we have some cards up here, some lands that are worth quite a bit. Um I think they're I don't even know. What is this? Add one colorless mana to your mana pool, and has the ability to pay a colorless tap, and then you tap a target land. So, food chain. Cool. Add X mana of any color. X to remove creatures. Converted mana cost +1. So, yeah. Always interesting to see lands. So, Dustful. Sacrifice land, destroy target non-basic land. It's always interesting. Gains protection from artifacts until end of turn. So, misdirection, goblin unmask, bribery, reverent mantra, crackdown, black market, conspiracy, high market, power matrix. Quite a few cards in here in rares. Uh, they're over $1, so we might see some of these show up. Obviously, we're not going to have many rares. It looks like I have one on top here. I don't know if I have any other rares in here. Uncommons, we're more likely to see those. Soothsaying, Haunted Crossroads, Coastal Piracy. I mean, there's a lot here. Katerian Summons, Barbed Wire Thwart, Kirin Notifications, Caustic Wasps, and Snake Pit all over $1. So, that's interesting to see that you have quite a few uncommons in this set. Let's see if there's any comments. So Snuff Out, Brainstorm, Gush, Dark Ritual, Hickory Woodlot. I think we might have some of these lands here. Hickory Woodlot, Sandstone, some counter spells in here. Surprising Scary Peat Bog. I'm pretty sure we have Hickory Woodlot and Peat Bog in this pile right here. I have like artifacts, and then yeah, there's Peat Bog. So I have a couple artifacts, and then some lands underneath. Um, but yeah, looks like there's. I mean, that's amazing to have 11 common cards in this set. They're over $1. Um, there's a pretty decent chance then that we're going to hit on uh quite a few of these, maybe even. Anyway, let's go ahead and scan. We'll go ahead and start with these on the bottom. So Toymaker, Wall, Barbed Wire. Oh yeah, Barbed Wire is uh over $1. So we've got Uncommon that's over $1. That's nice. And we have actually 2 copies of Peat Bog here. And we have Hickory Woodlot right underneath. So, oh, actually, and Sandstone Needle. I think Sandstone Needle was also one. Interesting thing here, just looking. So, I'm sure you can tell, like, the color variation there. Just much more darker and then lighter on this one. Um, I don't know if that's because maybe the hickory woodlots are darker or the other one's lighter. Um, Obviously, it's going to be something I'll have to look at once I get a like jeweler's loop. I should go ahead and order that. Because obviously, like color is something that could indicate that something's fake, but also a lot, especially on the older cards, um, it wasn't exactly uncommon for something to like get oversaturated with one like layer of color. You know, like obviously this is like a darker color, so maybe like black or something got printed twice on here, and so it's oversaturated on it. Or maybe like one color's like low on this one. Like maybe black is not printed as much on this one, or even at all. Um, there's actually some interesting stuff with like albino cards where because it's printed in layers, so you can get a card where like all of the typing and everything is printed, right? And your like black lines for like the picture and everything are printed and stuff. Like your black can be printed on everything, and then like your colors are just missing, and so it's like a white albino card. Um, and and so you can have stuff like that where a card has quite a bit of a difference. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's not a real card. Um, Depending on how common or uncommon it is to have something like that in that set. Um, like I think your older cards, so Sandstone Needle is also over $1, and we have 2 copies of that. Okay, so we're up to almost $20 on. I mean, we've had only 2 cards, so weren't worth something. So, um, depending on like how like common or uncommon it was to have cards like that in a set, it could be increase the value. It could be like there's cases where I mean, like just for instance, Summer of Magic. There's a card Blue Hurricane, right? Where a hurricane is supposed to be a green card. It has a green mana symbol up there. They printed it on blue background, and so everybody jokingly calls it Blue Hurricane because it looks like it should be a blue card. But then you notice, well, you pay green mana for it, so um, like obviously, like that's expensive because it's like a famous defect that there was. If you found a Summer of Magic Green Hurricane, it should actually be worth even more than the Blue Hurricane, right? Because they printed all of the Summer of Magic cards as a Blue Hurricane, right? So finding the card that's correct, right? Like there may not have been any printed at all. If there were any printed, it was probably printed as like a proof set that was like sent to Magic the Gathering, like, hey, we printed these, and here's the quality that we're going to do and stuff. I mean, which actually would be a crazy story then if you could find a card like that and be able to show, hey, at some point they had this right, and then somebody went in and screwed it up, right, and so they printed like the entire set wrong. Um, that's actually like one of the reasons why Summer Magic, a lot of people have heard of it. It was basically, I can't remember if it was it before or after Unlimited? I mean, it was a black border, so it might have actually been before Unlimited. But basically, they tried to do another printing and in 1994, and so it has like the illustrated 1994 and then the name, but it's not in like two lines. Like you'll notice this is in two lines, so it's bigger text, kind of like your Unlimited and Revised, but had a date 1994 on it, um, or like your Beta and Alpha, and I think it had a black border on it. So and apparently the print quality was so terrible that they actually pulled it. But it had already like got into some stores and been sold, and so they pulled it after some people had already bought it. Not just that, but some of the people who worked at the company that printed it uh, had like taken some of it. So there's actually a lot of rumors that it may not be like it was sent back to the company to destroy. Like, and I've worked in kind of manufacturing type stuff. Sometimes when you send stuff back, you never can be 100% sure what exactly happened to it. like, like especially like okay, they throw it in the dumpster, and then somebody like is dumpster diving and finds it and pulls it out. Like, you throw it in a compactor, or or like employees, um like one of the things that the company I work at, we have boxes, uh um and like people will like like let's say you have, actually everybody has this, you get stuff in a box, right, that's you've ordered maybe or something like that, and like somebody's moving and they take the box and they use it for moving, right? Like, how many employees would see, oh, Magic the Gathering cards, and we're just throwing these away? Well, can you take a box home, right? Like, and is anybody really going to like push back on that? Um, or like, did somebody load up their entire car? Like, there's a lot of rumors that maybe there's more Summer of Magic cards out there than people know about. Um, and they're being held on to and like slowly trickled into the market. I don't know, like, because I haven't heard a whole lot about Summer of Magic recently. I know it was a much bigger thing, I feel um, like a decade ago or so. And so it kind of maybe already all of them got trickled into the market, right? Somebody only had a few boxes. Um, but like, let's say they printed, 100 pallets of those. Like, who knows how much they printed Summer Magic? Like, obviously it got shut down, but I mean, they could have printed, you know, let's say they printed and packaged up, 10,000 boxes, right? How many of those uh actually like got disposed of versus how many of them ended up in some employee's car, right? And is there an employee that's just sitting on like boxes of them or unprinted sheets? It's the other kind of scary thing to think about is, we always like to think that, like there's more security on this stuff. Uh, But you never really know. Like I've heard of people getting a hold of like molds and like things for games where some may have like a whole bunch. So like here's another. This is part of the reason like that Hickory Woodlot. These are the same card. Look at how like dark one of them is versus the other one. And so you can actually tell, right? Because all the rest of these are much lighter. You can actually tell with this one, they oversaturated and like double printed the black on this card. So the fact that I've seen like multiple like this probably means it was a fairly common thing with this set where they double printed black. Um, you know, just or it could just be the printing things that they were using. When you refilled the black ink, right? The first like few things you ran through just ended up with extra ink on them. Like there's all types of things that could happen with that. So, but it is very I think interesting to see if we have there were a number of like common green cards. So I'm interested to see if any of these pop up as being worth over $1. Or was it just the land type cards? Hunted Wampus. That would have been well, it would have been really overpowered if it allowed you to also put a card in. 6/6 for 3 mana though is pretty decent. Problem you run into is if you're playing against a player that has a lot of like really strong cards, you're likely to get just destroyed. And I am surprised we're not ending up with any green cards here. They're worth anything. I also always kind of felt like Deadly Insect was a decent card just because it can't be the target of spells or abilities. Although I guess it can't be the target of spells or abilities that are your own either. So, but cards like Armageddon and stuff don't target a specific creature, so I think it would still get wiped out by those. Hmm. So I guess it wouldn't get the buffs, spells that you could potentially throw at it. There we go. Snuff out. Oh, come on. Read the card. Don't you want to read it? I don't know why it doesn't want to read that. So there's Snuff Out, $7.56 for a common card. That's crazy. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So it's a 3 colorless, 1 black. But if you control Swamp, you may pay 4 life instead of paying Snuff Out's mana cost, and you destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. So potentially a really decent card if you're about to lose uh because of some combo or something. I don't think this is going to show up. I don't know why is not picking that up. So, that is a rare card, unfortunately not worth anything. See if we have any. There were a couple blue cards that were also worth something from this set. So, I mean, it's a pretty decent card. Diplomatic immunity. Enchanted creature can't be the target of spells or abilities. Diplomatic immunity can't be target of spells or abilities. I mean, that's a really decent, 1 colorless, 1 blue card. I'm surprised that actually isn't worth more. Maybe it's banned in a lot of formats. That happens sometimes. Let's actually look at that. Diplomatic immunity. Okay, wait. Okay. Anyway, we have a lot of cards here. They're good. Let's go ahead and add this to a set. So $53. Add to collection. Mercadian. Because we also need to get the School's Feast added to this set. School apostrophe School's Feast. It's not that, it's Mercadian and add. So 14-cent card. Okay, so we got Mercadian. There's our diplomatic. I want to see. So rulings. So it looks like it's legal on Legacy, Commander, Vintage, Oathbreaker, Pauper, Canadian, Highlander, Conquest, Tiny Leaders, Pauper, Commander. So no, Vintage, Legacy, Commander, and Pauper. So not legal on Modern and Standard. Yeah. So yeah. So interesting with it there because like so does I mean I don't know the fact I think Popper and Commander are fairly popular. So I mean then again it is a common card uh or diplomatic immunity is a common card. It's not as good as Snuff Out obviously. So yeah, I guess the question would be would you rather have a diplomatic immunity in your deck or would you rather have another counter spell? Because you're playing blue. Probably another counter spell, I guess. So, and a lot of blue players don't play with a lot of creatures. So, that's probably why it's not up there in price, unfortunately. It's just not something that people are going to have a lot of excitement about. So, probably do much better if it was green. So, although if you're playing like a green blue or green black or something that's not a mono color, like mono blue, uh, I mean you could get your counter spells in and then a really powerful creature and hit it with diplomatic immunity. I mean that sounds like a good combination to me. So I have a lot of these penny sleeves. So I kind of went maybe a little bit overboard with the penny sleeves. So I bought I want to see 100 packages of 100. So what's that? 10,000 penny sleeves? But it was less than $100, so they're not even a penny. So which is cool. So okay, set this up so that we get a decent thumbnail, hopefully. So there we go. So we have all of that right there. So pricing wise, yeah, big card here was Common Snuff Out. Unfortunately, only one copy. 3 copies of Hickory Woodlot, 2 copies of Sandstone Needle, copy of Barbed Wire, and 2 copies of Peat Bog. So 2 copies of Diplomatic Community, which I mean, I guess the 6th best card in there, so kind of makes sense. It's right behind that's the lands, so pretty decent. Anyway, I'm going to stop the stream here. I don't know. Should I go ahead and do the next couple sets? It's 9:30. Probably not tonight. I do have, I think, Judgment and one other set that are sorted and kind of ready to go. But I've done 2 sets tonight so far. And so I think I'm going to call it quits with that, and then uh, probably do those sets tomorrow, hopefully. And then after that, oh, I think I'm into these cards that are not those ones. The cards with the like spear in the corner. Um, Spears in the corner. And there are. I have a lot of those. I have a lot of those. So, much more common card. I mean, not really, maybe more common, but I feel like covered about the same number of years as these where they had the illustrator and date in the middle. And so we're going to see it's more recent, so we're going to see a whole lot of them. I think there were some years where, uh, you know, early on when I started, like the stuff where it's just like the what does it look like now? It's like a number and then like uh like this one says KTK English. So like has more information down there about like what the set was and then like what language is printed in and then the illustrator's name and then on the other side has the Wizard of the Coast. So like this is a 2014. Like I don't think they started doing that until the early 2010s. And so there weren't a whole lot of those sets when I first started doing Cardhalla. Um, and so it hasn't been until like recently where that's kind of like the majority of the cards that are getting donated are those types of cards. Um, so I'm going to have a lot of I have a lot of all the rest of the next sets, although more recently they've kind of started accelerating how quickly they put out sets. So it'll be interesting to see how many cards I actually have from each set. So we're going to go ahead and stop the stream here. Back tomorrow.